Part 64. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 631. Chapter 631 Let go, it's good for everyone. Oh, Rira MRSMO sighed, her tone full of regret. It would be great if you were my daughter-in-law. I don't have to worry about these things at all. You are so good and excellent, why did Si? And Mo, you can't force emotional things. I'm very happy that you like me so much, but... Shenro's voice slowly dropped, and her tone became disappointed. Hearing what she meant, MRSMO seemed to have given up and was about to quit. She suddenly panicked. Rira, you don't want to like ACI anymore? Are you ready to give up? Shenro was silent for a while, and then said in a low tone, and Mo, it's not that I want to give up, it's that I have to give up. I've thought about it a lot these days. Si is already married, and he is living a very happy life now. You shouldn't have any more expectations for him. It's best for everyone if you let him go. No, Rira. MRSMO was a little panicked. You can't give up. Didn't Aunt Mo say she would help you find a solution? You have liked ACI for so many years, are you really willing to quit like this? Are you willing? Listen to Aunt Mo, there is no room for change in this matter. As long as you are willing, Aunt Mo will definitely help you find a way to let you and ACI be together. But, Aunt Mo. You only need to answer Aunt Mo, do you still like ACI? Do you want to be with him? This. Shenro was silent for a moment and then said, of course I like him and want to be with him. Aunt Mo, I have liked him since I was a child and dreamed of marrying him one day and becoming him. My wife. Just. That's right, MRSMO interrupted her, you are the child that Aunt Mo has watched grow up, and Aunt Mo only wants you to be my daughter-in-law. You don't have to worry about anything. In short, Aunt Mo will find a way. Let you and ACI be together. It is impossible for me to let Jiao Mian be my daughter-in-law. She is not worthy of my son. Asterisk. Outside the door. Mo Yesi knocked on the door. MRSMO, who was still talking to Shenro inside, was stunned for a moment and moved her phone away. Who? Mom, it's me, let's talk. Hearing his voice, MRSMO's face changed slightly, and she said into the phone, ACI is here, I'll hang up first. MRSMO hung up the phone, walked to the door, and opened the door. Mom Mo Yesi looked at her and called out calmly. MRSMO's face was sullen, as if she was still angry. What are you doing here? I have something to talk to you about. Mo Yesi paused for a few seconds and then said, it's about Mian. MRSMO became angry when she heard Jiao Mian's name, and her face darkened. What else is there to talk about? Didn't you all say it was a misunderstanding and that I wronged her? Why, is it possible for you? Do you want me to apologize to her? Mo Yesi pursed his lips and was silent for a few seconds, then stretched out his hand to rub the center of his brow. No. Then what else do you want to say? Mom, can you let me go in first? Do we have to stand at the door and talk like this? MRSMO looked at him with a cold face for a while, then turned sideways. After Mo Yesi walked in, he found a random place to sit down. If you want to put in a good word for your wife, then no, I don't want to hear it. MRSMO walked in and found a seat to sit down. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 632. Chapter 632 She is my wife, the woman I love. I have no intention of putting in a good word for her. Mo Yesi looked at her calmly and said, in my heart, she is good enough. Whether others recognize her or not is beyond my control. Mom, I just want to tell you that you really misunderstood her. Normally, Mo Yesi would not go out of his way to explain. But he listened to what Mo Shixio just said. He himself does not need to care about other people's opinions. But what about Jiao Mian? He doesn't want others to misunderstand her. She is so good, he really hopes everyone can like her. Especially his family. None of the rumors on the internet are true. Someone is deliberately smearing her. I have sent people to investigate this matter. She and Suzy met today, but only occasionally. It was Suzy who was pestering her. She has been rejecting. Since you are paying attention to this matter, you must have read Gongxi's clarification Weibo. Of course MRSMO has read that Weibo post. But she didn't believe it. The boys from the Gong family and the Yan family all grew up with Mo Yesi as playmates. Their clarification has no credibility at all. Mom, you are biased against Mian. From the beginning, you were not satisfied with her and didn't like her. Therefore, you refused to believe her at all. Do you think I asked Gong Si to post that clarification Weibo? Right. MRSMO was stunned and her expression changed. She does think so. Her thoughts were revealed on the spot, and she couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Of course she would not admit it. I didn't think so. I didn't see the Weibo you mentioned. What does this matter have to do with Gong Si? Mo Yesi curled his lips, but did not expose her. Gong Si was at the scene at the time. I didn't ask him to post on Weibo. Although I had such thoughts, he didn't like Mian very much because of Shenro, even though if you ask him to do it, he may not do it. MRSMO suddenly raised her head, with astonishment in her eyes. What do you mean by this? Gong Si likes Shenro, Mo Yesi said directly. He felt that I had let Shenro down, and I had a falling out with him. If I say this, can you believe Mian? MRSMO was stunned for a while, her face looking a little ugly. She suddenly felt a little panicked. Shenro suddenly said she wanted to quit today. Is this the reason? She plans to be with Gong Si? Thinking of the little overlord in the Gong family, MRSMO frowned and became a little anxious. She naturally feels that her son is the best in the world. But it cannot be denied that the boy from the Gong family is also very good. The family backgrounds of the Gong family and the Shen family are absolutely matched. Shen Yu and the boy from the Gong family also match in age and appearance, and the two families have been family friends for many years. Presumably, if they really have any intention, both families would be happy to see it happen. But if Shenro and Gong Zili are to be together, what will happen to her son? Shenro is her favorite daughter-in-law. Mom, I don't expect you to like her right away, but I hope you can put aside some of your prejudices against her and try to accept her slowly. If you are willing to put aside your prejudices and get along with her for a while, I believe you will like her. She is really a very good girl. Mom, she is my wife, the woman I love. Can you please do it for my sake? At the end, Mo Yesi lowered his attitude a lot. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 633. Chapter 633, it's up to you to choose what kind of result you want. It was rare for him to lower his posture like this in front of MRSMO. So, after hearing his last words, MRSMO was stunned. She looked at her son in surprise, seeing his low profile, and felt a little mixed in her heart. She knows the son she gave birth to better than anyone else. In the past, whatever he wanted to do, he would do it directly. Rarely, care about other people's opinions. Including her biological mother. When he was a child, because he was too young to be too independent, she could still control him once or twice with her strength. But later, he gradually grew up. Since he made a lot of money on his own when he was 13 years old, it has been difficult for her to influence him. The same is true in marriage. Whoever he wants to marry, he gets married directly. I didn't even say hello to them. She can't do anything to him other than accepting it. Now he is fully capable of being independent, both mentally and materially. She was even more, unable to influence him to do anything. He is such a person, but now he talks to her thoughtfully and asks for help from her. How could MRSMO not be surprised by this? But such a change did not make MRSMO happy. On the contrary, she felt as if something had stabbed her heart and she felt very uncomfortable. Because this change was not because of her, but because of the woman named Xiao Mian. MRSMO was silent for a long time. This was the first time that her son had begged her in such a low profile in front of her, and she couldn't bear it if she refused. Even if she were asked to accept Xiao Mian, she couldn't do it. Mom Mo Yesi waited for a while, looked at MRSMO's embarrassed look, thought for a while, and said in a deep voice, Xiao Mian is the woman I have identified with all my life. No matter whether you like her or not, I don't care. Maybe separated from her. So, I hope you can slowly fall in love with her in this case, it will be much easier for everyone to get along with her in the future. I don't want conflicts between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law to happen in our family. I believe you also know the consequences if this happens. If you insist on letting such a thing happen, then I can only choose not to take her home. When the time comes, don't think we are unfilial. What do you mean by that? Why do I have to let something like this happen? These two sentences undoubtedly angered MRSMO again, and her face suddenly turned ugly. Mo Yesi felt a little tired, stretched out his hand to rub his eyebrows and said, Mian is willing to get along well with your mother-in-law, but you don't want to accept her. How do you want her to get along with you? If you take her home every time, you will. If she is unhappy, why should I bring her back? Are you threatening me? MRSMO was so angry that she grabbed the cushions on the sofa and said with a livid face. Mo Yesi looked at her and said calmly, Mom, you are forcing me. The choice is actually in your hands, and it is up to you to choose the result you want. At this point, he felt that there was no need to continue talking. He slowly stood up under MRSMO's angry gaze. Mom, please think about it carefully. I will never talk to you about this matter again in the future. After saying that, he turned around and walked out the door. MRSMO sat on the sofa with a pale face, watching him slowly walk out, and then watched the door slowly close. Thank you for your deep love, passerby. 139-31, Ca Isukan's favorite woman, 185-44, and generous rewards from neighbors. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 634. Chapter 634, It's impossible for her to recognize someone like Mr. Gong. She was so angry that she grabbed the sofa cushion in her hand and threw it to the ground. You want me to accept that kind of woman as my daughter-in-law, in a dream? Asterisk. At this time, the Chiao family was not at peace either. NXIN, what's going on? Is everything in the news true? Did that little Xiao Mian really take Suzy back? Are they really back together? Through the door, everyone Lin Huijan's sharp and harsh voice could be heard. She hurriedly reached out and pushed the door open. As soon as she walked into the bedroom, she started shouting anxiously, we can't let that little get her hands on her. If she gets back together with Suzy, what will we, mother and daughter, do in the future? That little hates us so much. If she marries into the Su family and becomes the young mistress of the Su family, she will think of ways to torment us. Also, if she becomes Xingui's boss lady, you will still do it in the future. Why stay in Xingui? I never thought that that little would be so shameless. He took advantage of the few days you were in the hospital to seduce Suzy away. Why is she so mean? She even wants to steal her own sister's man. When Lin Huijan said these words, She never thought that her daughter had snatched other people's men. She talked for a while and saw that Jiao Angzhen didn't respond at all. He was still sitting on the bedside holding a mobile phone and looking at it, as if he didn't hear her. She was anxious and angry. She took a step forward and snatched the mobile phone from Jiao Angzhen's hand. She said with a bit of hatred, "What time has it been and you are still looking at your phone? If you look at your phone again, your man will be raped by that." The little took it away. "Did you hear what I just said? If Suzy is snatched away by that little bitch, not only will you not be able to marry into the Su family, nor will you be able to become the young mistress of the Su family, but your career will also be affected. If you leave Xinggui, you will be able to develop as well as you do now. So good. When that little gets on top of us in the future, will we still be able to live a good life?" Lin Huijin finished speaking for a while, but saw that Jiao Angzhen still had no reaction. She became even more angry and said angrily, "I have told you so much, why did you just?" Halfway through her words, when Jiao Angzhen slowly raised her head and looked at her expressionlessly, she froze. Jiao Angzhen stretched out her hand, "Mom, give me your phone." "Don't worry, those news." "I said give me the phone," Jiao Angzhen suddenly shouted, stood up and took the phone back from Lin Huijin, who was frightened by her. She clicked on her phone, lowered her eyes, and stared at the Weibo post she had just seen. After watching it for a few seconds, he suddenly yelled again, raised his hand and slammed the phone to the ground. There was a pop sound, and the glass screen of the mobile phone shattered. Lin Huijin was frightened by this scene. She looked at her with wide eyes and fear, and did not dare to speak for a while. Why should she? Jiao Angzhen gritted her teeth, her eyes were red with jealousy, and her face had a ferocious expression. She gritted her teeth and roared, "How could young Master Gong speak for her? How could she know young Master Gong? How could it be possible? Bitch, bitch, bitch. What qualifications does she have to let Mr. Gong speak for her? Who is she? It's impossible for her to know Mr. Gong, absolutely impossible. It's impossible for her to recognize a person like Mr. Gong." Jiao Angzhen seemed to be stimulated by something, and she kept saying the same words over and over again. Lin Huijin was confused after hearing this and worried that she was being stimulated abnormally. She walked over and took her arm, worriedly saying, "Xin, what's wrong with you? Don't scare Mom. That palace you just mentioned, who is less?" End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 635. Chapter 635, Were they demoted? What does he have to do with that little bitch? Jiao Angzhen still ignored Lin Huijin's words. She is still thinking about that Weibo post. That was the Weibo posted by Gong Zili, the crown prince of the Gong family, a Weibo to help Jiao Mian clarify. The crown prince of the Gong family, what kind of person is he? If the Su family is good enough, and the Jiao family is trying to compete with the Su family, then the Gong family is 10 times or 100 times better than the Su family. That's Yunchinj, a top wealthy family. As the sole heir of the Gong family, the status of the crown prince Gong Zili is even more precious. He is the top powerful man that many women in Yunchinj want to cling to but cannot. There are many women around him. Like other wealthy second-generation men, he changes women just like he changes clothes. He is not a long-term and dedicated man. But after so many women, there was no one he could really take to heart. There were a few female artists who used their scheming skills to deliberately say misleading words when they were following him, making others think they were his girlfriends. The result was that he was broken up immediately. But now, he is helping Jiao Mian clarify on Weibo in such a high-profile manner. That Weibo post, at first, she thought it was Gong Zili's Weibo account that had been stolen. However, if the account is stolen, it should be deleted soon. But Gong Zili's Weibo post is still up to this day. At the same time, All of Chiao Mianmian's negative material was deleted in less than an hour. Some big VS also sent letters of apology one after another to apologize to Chiao Mianmian. It was definitely not Suzi's handiwork that he could do this. The only person who would make those big VS fearful is Gong Zili. As soon as Gong Zili's Weibo post came out, everyone was speculating on his relationship with Chiao Mianmian. This is the first time he has defended a woman in such a high-profile manner on Weibo. No matter what the relationship between this woman and him is, it is not something that others can easily offend. No one wants to get into trouble with the Gong family, as the consequences will be disastrous. Even though no one knows what the relationship between Chiao Mianmian and Gong Zili is yet, with Gong Zili showing up like this, no one dares to easily offend Chiao Mianmian anymore. 1 second, Chiao Angzan saw Suzi kneeling on the street begging for reconciliation with Chiao Mianmian, and the next second, she saw Gong Zili's clarification on Weibo. This is undoubtedly a double blow to her. The man she tried so hard to away is now back to find Chiao Mianmian. The man she would never come into contact with in her life, posted a high-profile Weibo post to defend Chiao Mianmian. And that handsome man with a mysterious identity. Why do so many outstanding men surround that Chiao Mianmian? Were they lowered? She had to put in a lot of thought, work hard, and even make every compromise to win Suzi. And this man, among all her resources, already has the best conditions. Chiao Mianmian. Just after they separated from Suzi, she found a man with a mysterious identity and good looks. That man not only looks better than Suzi, but also has a better temperament than Suzi. He is also very likely to have a much better family background than Suzi. Although, she still doesn't know who that man is. She hired so many private detectives to investigate, but nothing was found. But the more the investigation fails, the more obvious it is that the man's family background must be very prominent. Otherwise, it's impossible that she wouldn't be able to find out any information. Before she could find out the identity of the mysterious man, Chiao Mianmian hooked up with Gong Zili again. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 636. Chapter 636. Are you going to find out her biological parents? This bitch, why is she so lucky? God, how could he be so partial to her? Sending men with such excellent conditions to her one after another. And what about her? She can't even keep Suzi. A strong hatred arose from the bottom of her heart. Along with this hatred, there was also strong unwillingness and jealousy. She is no worse than Chiao Mianmian. Are these men blind? One by one, they actually fall in love with a woman whose parents are unknown. No, Chiao Mianmian's biological parents may have died long ago, and she is an orphan without a father or a mother. I won't let her succeed. Chiao Angzan suddenly turned around and looked at Lin Huijin with eyes filled with hatred and jealousy. The expression on her face was so ferocious that Lin Huijin felt a little scary. Mom, do you think Chiao Mianmian's biological parents are? What did you do that led you to flee abroad? What if his biological parents are criminals? Chiao Angzan became excited when she thought of this possibility. Yes, her biological parents must be criminals. They fled abroad after committing very serious crimes. Therefore, she is the daughter of a criminal. If the young lady and the man knew that she was the daughter of a criminal, they would definitely not help her anymore. Who would like a criminal's daughter? Mom, we have to investigate this matter immediately. Chiao Angzan grabbed Lin Huijin's arm, as if she saw hope again. Her eyes flashed, and she gritted her teeth and sneered, if we find out Chiao Mianmian's biological parents, if she is a criminal who is absconding, I wonder what else she can use to seduce people. At that time, I will let everyone know that she is the daughter of a criminal. I want everyone to avoid her like flies and mosquitoes. Lin Huijin was stunned for a while, then came back to her senses. You want to find out her biological parents? That's right. Jiao Angzhen squeezed her fingers. Mom, think about it, what kind of thing would they have to have committed to make them flee abroad without even having their children? If they hadn't committed a major crime, that's offending someone who shouldn't be offended. No matter what the situation is, if it is found out, it will make Xiao Mian uncomfortable. After hearing what she said, Lin Huijin thought about it and her eyes lit up. You are right. If her parents are really absconding criminals, who would want a criminal's daughter? This way, she can prevent her from marrying. The Su family is gone. Suzy will not break up with you. Humph, Mom, you are wrong. Xiao Angzhen's face darkened and she said coldly, I didn't do this to prevent her from marrying into the Su family. A Su family is nothing. Xiao Angzhen no longer looks down on the Su family. In the past, she thought the Su family was very good and Suzy's conditions were excellent. But no comparison does no harm. How can Suzy compare with the young master of the Gong family? 100 Suzes are not as good as one Gong Zili. Even Xiao Mian can hook up with young master Gong. She can do the same. In the past, she could Suzy away from Xiao Mian, but she didn't believe that she would not be able to him away this time. Lin Huijin was stunned for a moment. You are not trying to prevent her from marrying into the Su family, then what are you doing? An Xin, you must not let her marry into the Su family, otherwise we, mother and daughter, will be doomed in the future. Suzy is I've done something sorry for you, but if you break up with him, you won't be able to find a man with such good conditions in the future. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 637. Chapter 637. That man's family background is not comparable to that of 100 Su families. Mom tells you, calm down but don't make impulsive decisions just for the sake of anger. Mom, you're thinking too much. You don't need to stop me. Xiao Mian will not be with Suzy. How could he still like Suzy when he was already standing next to a big tree like Mr. Gong? What she wants to do now is not to prevent Xiao Mian and Suzy from getting back together, but to prevent her from getting together with Gong Zili. What if Xiao Mian really succeeded in hooking up with Gong Zili and became Gong Zili's woman? Only in the future will he really ride on her head. Why? Lin Huijin looked confused. How could that little not agree? She just wants to marry into the Su family right away. You underestimate Xiao Mian too much. Xiao Angzhen sneered. She has hooked up with a more powerful man now. Suzy, a mere Suzy, has long been ignored. Mom, you know the guy she hooked up with now. Who is the man? Who is it? Is it possible that it can be more powerful than the Su family? Heh, the Su family is nothing. Xiao Angzhen said disdainfully. That man's family background is not comparable to that of 100 Su families. Suzy is not even qualified to shine shoes for others. Lin Huijin was shocked. So powerful? That little can actually know such a man? Are you sure? Mom, do you know about the Gong family? The Gong family? The second-ranked Gong family among the 4 famous families in Yunqing? What does this have to do with that little bitch? Don't tell me. Lin Huijin said, her eyes widening even wider, her face filled with tears. Incredible. The crown prince of the Gong family, Gong Zili, is the only heir to the Gong family. The man that little is hooking up with now is this crown prince. Do you think she can still like Suzy? How is it possible? Lin Huijin said in disbelief, how is it possible that she knows a man of this level? I don't think it's possible either. Xiao Angzhen gritted her teeth, the hatred and jealousy in her eyes revealed again, but Mr. Gong personally helped her clarify on Weibo. If he didn't have a good relationship with her, how could he do it? That's it? He has never posted anything on Weibo related to anyone else, let alone a woman. Although we still don't know what the relationship between Xiao Mian and him is, she has got into the matter of young Master Gong. It must be true. Mom, I have to stop her from being with young Master Gong. If she does it with young Master Gong in the future, we will really be in trouble. Lin Huijin started to feel scared when she thought about the power of the Gong family and the crown prince of the Gong family, who didn't have a very good reputation. It's just a Su family, they can't afford to offend them. If that little really gets into the Gong family, wouldn't it be? Thinking of all the possibilities, Lin Huijin was so frightened that her face turned pale. But, how to stop that little bitch? Mom, the success of this thing mainly depends on you. Rely on me. Only Dad knows who the biological parents of that little are. If you can get some useful information from Dad, it will be much easier for us to investigate. But your dad won't tell me. He is very tight-lipped. I asked him several times before, but he didn't say anything. Then ask him in another way. What if you tell him that you want to help Xiao Mian find her biological parents? Lin Huijin opened her eyes wide, and then realized, what do you mean? End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 638. Chapter 638. I just want to be with you every day. Qiao Angzhen nodded, pursed his lips and smiled, but his eyes were gloomy. This matter must be investigated as soon as possible. Asterisk. 3 days passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, it was almost time for Xiao Mian to go to the set. The night before leaving, Mo Yesi turned down all the entertainment and went home early. After dinner, the young couple returned to the bedroom. Xiao Mian took out her suitcase and started packing. She will be going out of town for almost 3 months this time, so she needs to pack a lot of luggage. While she took out the clothes, folded them and put them in the suitcase, Mo Yesi stood aside and watched for a while, feeling a little uncomfortable. He asked in a low voice, when will you go to the airport tomorrow morning? Sister Xie just sent me the travel time. It's a flight at 9 o'clock. I have to rush to the airport after 7 o'clock. Xiao Mian put a folded skirt into the suitcase and took a few more from the wardrobe. Take out the clothes and fold them. So early, Mo Yesi seemed a little dissatisfied. It's not very early, isn't it? You usually go to work at this time, right? Mo Yesi. How can this be the same? She had to go to the airport so early, so she didn't have much time to spend with him. Going away for 3 months, Mo Yesi paused for a few seconds and asked in a deeper voice. Xiao Mian squatted on the ground and folded her clothes for a while. She heard something was wrong in his tone. She raised her head and glanced at him, then slowly stood up. She put her hands behind her back, bent down, tilted her head and looked at him again, and raised the corners of her mouth slightly. Are you unhappy? Mo Yesi said with a straight face, we are still newlyweds, and my new wife is going to stay out of town for 3 months. Do you think I can be happy? Okay, it's not like I won't come back. Facing the man's resentful gaze, Xiao Mian couldn't help but laugh. She took a step forward, stood on tiptoes and hugged his neck. Besides, you're free. You can also come and see me. Or if I take a vacation, I can come back to see you. Her voice was soft, as if she was coaxing a child. We are only temporarily separated. Don't you think it's good to keep a proper distance between husband and wife sometimes? No. Mo Yesi squinted his eyes, his deep eyes filled with dissatisfaction. I don't want to keep distance from you, I just want to be with you every day. Xiao Mian. Then what do you want? She sighed helplessly, but her heart was full of sweetness. How about you take your business over there and forget about it? In this case, you can live there, and we can be together every day. She was joking. Unexpectedly, Mo Yesi thought about it seriously, then nodded and said, your proposal is good. I will call Wei Zhen now. As he spoke, he gestured to get his cell phone. Xiao Mian was stunned for a few seconds and was amused by him. She reached out to hold the hand that he used to pull out the phone. Okay, Mo Yesi, please stop making trouble. I was just joking. I think this is a good idea. Then you don't care about the business here. Business, the man raised his eyebrows and raised the corners of his lips. His handsome and deep facial features were so handsome that it made people's hearts beat when they saw him at close range. He came closer to her, held her chin with one hand, and said in a low and seductive voice, "Business is not as important as my wife. The world is big and my wife is the biggest." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 639. Chapter 639. Do you want to starve me to death? Xiao Mianmian's heartbeat suddenly became chaotic. This man Mo Yesi is teasing her again. But every time she couldn't stand the flirtation. When he flirted casually, her heart stopped listening to her. It beats very slowly for a while, very fast for a while, and doesn't seem to be beating at all for a while. She is really worthless to be seduced like this by her husband. But, is Mo Yesi an ordinary man? Having a husband who is so handsome and very good at flirting, no one can resist him. Ahem, okay, no more joking. The film and television city is not far from Yunchinj. I promise you, as soon as I have time, I will come back to see you. Okay. In fact, Xiao Mian couldn't bear to leave for so long. The two of them are on the rise of their relationship. At this time, no one can bear to be separated for so long. But love is important, and career is equally important. Actually, Xiao Mian was very stressed after marrying Mo Yesi. The pressure is much greater than when she was single. This pressure does not come from finances, but from the gap between her and Mo Yesi. The better he is, the greater the pressure on her. She will feel that she is not worthy of such an excellent him. So, she hopes to make some achievements as soon as possible, even if those achievements are not worth mentioning in front of him. At least, she can see that she is making progress. She also wanted to earn a sum of money through her own efforts that would give her a sense of security. The girl's soft white and tender arms were hung around his neck, her dark and moist eyes looked at him softly, and her voice was delicate and soft. Facing her like this, Mo Yesi could not say the word not good. Even though he was dissatisfied, after sighing, he nodded and said, "Okay. I knew you were the best." Xiao Mian took advantage of the victory and stood on tiptoes, raised her head and kissed him on the lips. Pecked lightly, and just as he was about to pull away, Mo Yesi held her waist and pressed her towards him, lowered his head and kissed her hard and hard. Well. Xiao Mian struggled for a while, and her voice was broken. Mo Yesi, I still need to pack my luggage. Don't worry about it, I'll help you clean it up later. The man's voice became hoarse, and the arm tightly attached to her waist became hotter and hotter. He pinched her chin and kissed her deeply. No. I have to go to bed early tonight. It's only 7 o'clock now. You go to bed at 10 o'clock and have another hour to pack your luggage. We still have 2 hours. But, well. Her lips were blocked again. Hush, honey, we don't have much time, let's not waste it on meaningless conversations. The man picked her up horizontally and carried her out of the cloakroom. Asterisk. Mo Yesi didn't waste a minute of the 2 hours promised. After Mo Yesi finished bathing her, he wrapped her in a bath towel and carried her back to bed. She was so tired that she closed her eyes and fell asleep soon after. Thank you, Mr. Wei. Thank you to Meng Xiaode, 17738, Liruo, bury the flower sole, hide, and Nanji for the reward. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 640. Chapter 640 Baby, are you still angry with me? Asterisk. Woke up the next day and said, good morning, wife. As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw a handsome face that didn't look like a real person. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw an enlarged and handsome face. The man's facial features were deep and three-dimensional, as if they were carved by knives and axes. His thin crimson lips were slightly raised. He supported his head with one hand and looked at her with an charming smile. The slightly open chest reveals well-defined muscles, and the lines are so smooth and that you want to touch them. Early in the morning, as soon as she opened her eyes, she was faced with such a beautiful temptation. Chiao Mian said she couldn't bear it. She looked at a certain culprit angrily and didn't even want to say hello to him. This hateful man. Usually he is very obedient to her. When she was bullied severely by him, Chiao Mian was so angry that she wanted to divorce him. Baby, are you still angry with me? Mo Yesi reached out and pinched her chin, lowered his head to kiss her, and said in a low and hoarse voice, I'm sorry, if you are still angry with me, how about I let you bite me to vent your anger? He lifted up the sleeves of his nightgown, stretched his arm to her mouth, and said sincerely, bite it, you can bite it for as long as you want. Chiao Mian. She is still angry. He is extremely domineering and powerful. But the man's good attitude in admitting his mistakes and actively asking for punishment made her suddenly lose her temper with him. Oh, forget it. Thinking about the upcoming months of separation, the anger in my heart has been replaced by a feeling of reluctance. Who wants to bite you? Bite at every turn. That's what a puppy can do. Chiao Mian bit her lower lip, glared at him with a cute expression, and patted his arm gently. Baby, you feel sorry for me and you can't bear to bite my husband. Mo Yesi chuckled softly, pretending to kiss her again. My wife is so kind. Don't. Seeing that his kiss was about to fall, Chiao Mian quickly reached out to block it, and pushed his face away with her other hand. I haven't brushed my teeth yet. Mo Yesi's lips fell on the back of her hand. He kissed the back of her hand with warm and moist lips, his Adam's apple rolled, and he laughed softly, it's okay, I don't mind. Chiao Mian, I mind. Okay, he sighed softly, moved his lips away, reached out to brush the hair from her forehead, and kissed her forehead, then wash up first. Asterisk. The two of them got up together. Mo Yesi carried Chiao Mian to the bathroom, where he helped her wash her face, brush her teeth, and apply skincare products. After washing, he carried her to the dressing room and changed clothes. After changing clothes, he carried her downstairs. Arrived downstairs. The maids who were cleaning saw their young master carrying the young lady down, and all of them had expressions of envy on their faces, and they only regretted why they were not so lucky. Having a husband like the young master who loves and dotes on you, you will definitely die of happiness. End of this chapter.